Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King. And as I told you guys before, I'm going to be doing majority of my what if that I make myself on all of my channel guys. So yeah, here's part 1 of what if Naruto had all Toon Force and reality warping. Part 1 guys. So sit back, relax and yeah, I hope you guys enjoy. And don't forget to go ahead and check out the brand new episode over on Anime Symbol of What If Naruto had Ultra Ego and was battle hungry. So go ahead and enjoy that as well guys. And remember for new, yes I need have 4 channels which I post what if on every single day for you guys to enjoy. So go ahead and destroy that red subscribe button and become a part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all of your help and your support. Without further ado or wasting more time, what do you say we jump right into this? Begin now guys. Hiruzen Sarutobi, the third Hokage. He will have to take up the mantle once again. He was holding on to the dead body of Kushina Uzumaki. She just told him her son's name and told him to watch over him. He promised that he would. Hiruzen glanced over as one of his envoys were holding the boy gently in his hand as he released a breath, looking over towards the body of Minato Namikaze, his dead successor. Tonight was truly a tragic night. They lost so much. So much happened. As he released a breath, suddenly, the entire heavens started to sparkle with all colors. Lightning started cackling in the sky. Hiruzen and his envoy glanced up as they looked at the multicolored lightning. Shock, as they've never seen lightning like that before. It happened so fast, none of them could react. The envoy that was holding the baby was thrown as he crashed hard. He was not dead, but he was knocked unconscious. Hiruzen was blasted away as he crashed on the ground. The other envoys were blasted as well. The lightning strike had converged and slammed right down on the baby. It was a shocking, terrifying sight. There was no way that he could survive that. Why would fate be so cruel? He was just born, and everything was taken away from him, and now his life. Hiruzen heard crying. He rushed as fast as he could. A giant hole was left in the lightning wake. Hiruzen did not hesitate as he jumped down. The boy was floating in green liquid. Hiruzen looked around as he picked up the child. The child's whole body started to glow. Hiruzen was confused until the child suddenly was covered by a blanket. Shock was written all over the old man's face. Where did the blanket come from? Hiruzen reached as he touched it to make sure that it was real. And it was. He couldn't believe it. How this didn't make any sense. He turned his gaze as he saw the green liquid, as he wondered what was it. Walking, Hiruzen realized that this was no normal piece of land, as it led towards a strange laboratory. His eyes widened when he realized that this must be one of Orochimaru's places underground. And this strange green liquid was a strange chemical that had drifted off the young boy. Hiruzen looked back down towards him, wondering, how did that happen? The child simply smiled at him, like he understood what he was saying. Hiruzen leaped out of the hole. "How is he?" he said, looking towards the Anvu that got struck. "He's alive, just a bit burned," the healer said. Hiruzen thanked Kami for that. They've already lost so much. But what just happened was something that he could not explain. As he released a breath, it was time they head back to the village. Time skip. A few years later, Hiruzen Sarutobi was making his way. He was currently not in Konoha. He was in a secret underground facility that belongs to Konoha. As he walked, there was an Anvu right beside him as he made his way down the long, extended hallways. The past few years has been rough, but it was more so rough to what he had to do. The person that he had to keep locked away from the world for his and many others' safety. It had to be done. As he released another tired breath, the years was not nice to him, as he seemed to have aged over 20 years, and it was not that long. He finally arrived. As the Anvu opened the door, greeting him was none other than his former teammate, Danzo Shimura, someone that he had to literally turn to because he had no other hope. "How is he?" Hiruzen said, getting straight down to business. "Much has not changed since your last visit," Danzo responded as the both of them started to walk alongside each other. "It is time," Hiruzen said. Danzo glanced towards him. "You believe so?" he said. "He's been confined down here for most of his life. I gave you more than enough time." Danzo was the best person for conditioning someone. There was no doubt about that. The Yamanakas might have their ability to mess with people's mind, but Danzo was a master in making someone do what he wants. With enough time, he could completely rewrite someone without even using techniques. And that is what was needed for young Naruto Uzumaki. After all, the things that happened, he couldn't allow it to go on. The boy needed to change. The both of them arrived in front of a massive door. As Danzo went through at least 15 hand signs. "Hiruzen, watch." Before the man slammed both his hands on the door, a massive ceiling matrix appeared. Danzo went through another 15, unlocking the second ceiling matrix, and another, and another. The final one took over 30 hand signs. Once that was done, the massive door in front of them sunk in and separated, allowing the both of them to walk inside. Inside was a large, massive area. The underground passageway that they took led them to a completely different area. Yes, it was outside. It was almost like another dimension, but it was not. It was sealed off from the rest of the world. Fuinjutsu had been put in place to keep this place well protected. Jiraiya, Hiruzen, and several of the best remaining seal masters had came together to design this place in order to keep everyone safe, and they were not even sure if it could hold him back. However, the lie did. Hiruzen had concocted a lie. The boy, Naruto Uzumaki, Hiruzen told him that if he were to ever leave this place, he would die. They were able to trick him in believing that by applying specialized seal to him when he was younger. That made him feel excruciating pain the moment he stepped outside. But the more he grew, the more the seal faded away. It could no longer contain what he was. However, he believed their lie for years upon years and never tried to escape away from this place because he feared that he would die. Hiruzen had placed the boy under Danzo's watch, and Danzo was being supervised every time he interacted with the child, of course. Hiruzen had gave him a time period, but Danzo would ask for more. All he wanted was for Naruto to understand the difference between right and wrong, and to never turn his wrath upon the village ever again. In the beginning, he never seemed to understand the concept of right and wrong, or had any sort of emotions of regret, empathy. Those were not with him in the beginning. But now, a lot has changed, and he doesn't feel like it was time to reintroduce him back to society, as the guilt of keeping the boy down here, locking him away from the outside world, was eating away at him. After all, the boy had changed. He deserved to be free like everyone else. Danzo seemed to have no protest against this because he knew, with the proper guidance, in the upcoming future there was not a single person on this earth that could fight against his boy. All he needed was the guidance and training to properly harness that power of his. That destructive, unpredictable, strange, unusual power of his. Once he was fully able to control that power, he will be unstoppable. Danzo had spent the better part of the past 8 years making sure that the boy would be loyal to Konoha, willing to do whatever it takes to keep Konoha safe, and making sure that the boy saw him as an ally, a friend, someone to get guidance and wisdom from. Hiruzen had wormed his way in there as well, but Danzo was sure that he had more manipulation over the boy. Him being constantly watching make sure that he did the right thing did not help in the slightest, but at least he had reached this far. All he wanted now was for Hiruzen to release the boy. That is why he had no problem about reintroducing him back to society. Both of the men came across a house, a normal sized house, as they heard a massive snoring. It was so loud. The top of the house was being drawn in as the person inhaled, and when they exhaled, the top part returned back to normal. He was literally breaking down and twisting the molecules of the house to move to his control while he was sleeping. Hiruzen was used to this. So was Danzo, because both of them know that Naruto Uzumaki was not a human child. He couldn't be, because humans can't do what he do. The both of them arrived towards the house. As Hiruzen stood in front of it, he did not enter, because he knew what would happen if he did. Naruto, he said, calling out to Naruto. As Hiruzen stood there, waiting, as he looked at the bottom of the door to see saliva. A lot of it. If he were to open this door right now, he would see a gigantic mouth, snoring. And if he were to be pulled in, he was not sure what will happen after that. The house stopped moving. Meanwhile, on the inside, 2 pair of blue eyes snapped open. A smile was on his face. 3 whisker marks as he flipped. However, the moment his feet touched ground, there was a spasm of him getting up too early. His legs turned to jelly. His bones melted as he collapsed face first, before he seemed to spasm once again. As he jumped back, his bones fixing and rearranging himself. A big smile was on his face. "One moment, old man," he said, as Naruto proceeded to turn and spin. His whole body was like a gig as he spun to the bathroom. Time itself seemed to slow down, yet the water pressure was still moving fast. Naruto was moving so fast that everything was frozen. Everything but the water, as he soaped himself up. He had a quick shower before he jumped out. He was standing there fully naked before he reached up and grabbed his own mouth, before he tore it off his face. There was nothing there as he threw his mouth towards the wall. It plastered on the wall before the wall, where his mouth was, took in a deep breath, and then exhaled. The wind blew him dry as Naruto grabbed his mouth and slapped it back on his face. He then reached as he pulled a massive long mirror out of nowhere and placed it on the wall. He then disappeared and reappeared as he was dressed in all green from head to toe. He then disappeared and reappeared as he was dressed in all black. "I am darkness," he said in a deep, rough voice. He then vanished once again and reappeared in all white as he held his hand out. A bright light appeared behind him, shining like a heavenly light. I am the light. I am pure. I am your God. Nah, as he vanished once again before reappearing. This time he was dressed in a very expensive suit. Mwah! He blew a kiss to himself as he proceeded to place one finger right on his hip. Tss, smoking, he said. He then smelled something as he started to sniff. His nose detached from his face and went toward his hip. It then quickly retracted as he screamed. His whole body burst into flames. He rolled on the ground before he reached as a bucket of water appeared and doused himself. Naruto panted. Oh man, my suit. He sighed before he vanished away and reappeared once again in a white t-shirt with a soda can on the front, black shorts, and black sandals as well. I guess we're gonna go ordinary today, he said. Before he zipped off, Naruto appeared in front of the Hokage. At the beginning, Hiruzen used to step back and be surprised at his sudden appearance, but now, he was not. Hiruzen raised his hand as he placed on Naruto's head. As he smiled. How are you doing, my boy? He said. Oh, said Naruto with a smile. I'm doing just fine, he said. How about you, Jiji? He asked. I'm doing fine as well, he said. I have some good news for you. What is it? Is someone else coming? Naruto asked. No. He pouted at that. I have this. Hiruzen pulled out a syringe. Naruto blinked. What's that? He said. This is a cure that we've been searching for the past couple of years. The cure? Wait, Danzo Jiji. Naruto glanced over Hiruzen's shoulder. Does that mean I can... Danzo nodded. Yes, he said. You can go outside. Naruto turned red with excitement before his head swelled and boom! His head exploded. Both men did not seem surprised in the slightest despite the rather strange scene, but there was no blood or brain matter. It was confetti. Naruto's head then regrew at a rapid pace. Hiruzen stepped back as he knew that it was not done yet. His legs turned into springs as he started to bounce all over the place, leaping and bouncing and leaping and bouncing. Before he jumped up, hell yeah, he said. As he landed in front of Hiruzen, he shrunk before he returned back to his normal size. Give it to me, he said. You're gonna have to calm down, Hiruzen said. Naruto took in a deep breath as he proceeded to exhale. Alright, I'm calm. Now give it to me. Alright, hold out your hand. Hiruzen placed the needle right on his skin. This might hurt a bit. Don't worry. I'm tough and strong, said Naruto as Hiruzen injected him. Naruto's cheeks turned red and puffy before he screamed, shaking the entire place. Wowza! That really hurt, he said. But it's fine now, he said. So can I go outside? You're gonna have to give it 5 minutes. Alright, said Naruto. As he sat down, suddenly, he pulled out the hour clock and placed it down. His legs were swinging back in front as he watched it. 1 banana, 2 banana, 3 banana, 4 banana, 5 banana. He kept on counting. Hiruzen walked over towards Danzo. You seem quite okay with this, he said. Why wouldn't I be? For the past couple of years, the boy has been under my care. He's able to do something that majority of people were never able to accomplish in their lifetime. He's wormed his way under my skin. And I care for him. Having him experience the freedom of the outside world, becoming a part and uniting with the village. It's something I desire for him. Hiruzen was speechless hearing that. He would have never expected in his wildest dreams for Danzo to say something like that. Maybe the boy has truly changed him. Or was it all perhaps a lie? As they stood there, the hour clock exploded, throwing Naruto into the wall, as his eyes had stars in them. I guess the 5 minutes are over, he said. The next moment he was clean, not even a scratch on him, as he appeared in front of Hiruzen. Come on now, he said. But you have to stay calm. Remember, the outside world is very different than in here. Hiruzen told him. And certain people won't be used to what you can do. So you're going to try with your hardest to remain calm and not overexert yourself. Or, remember what we talk about. Yes, said Naruto. Remind me, Hiruzen said. I will not hurt anyone that I should not hurt. Good people should not get hurt. But I should also protect good people from bad people and protect myself against bad people as well. And keep my comrades and friends safe. I am a ninja of Konoha. Well, I'm going to be a ninja of Konoha. And I'm going to save and protect the village. And keep everyone there safe. And make sure that the land is protected. And if I can, I must always try to sort things out a peaceful way. And don't try to kill or hurt people. If I can go without it. Hiruzen smiled here and that. Exactly. You've come a long way, Naruto, he said. I believe that it's time. Naruto was bouncing on his heels. He could not wait. As they slowly made their way, once the door shut, the seals activated. So Danzo had to remove the seals once again. Once he did, both men stepped outside, but Naruto was still behind them. Come on, Hiruzen said. What if it didn't work? What if I die, said Naruto. I promise you. Haven't I always told you the truth, Hiruzen said. He did not hesitate in saying that. He had to make Naruto believe him. That lie will have to be something that he take to his grave. Naruto took a deep breath as he stepped outside. Suddenly, his hands started to burn. His legs started to burn. What's going on? He said. Both Hiruzen and Danzo looked concerned. Naruto started to scream as his entire body caught on fire. Both men rushed towards his aid until the fire slowly dissipated. He started to laugh as he held his stomach. Got you, he said. Hiruzen bumped him over the head as a massive swell appeared. Ow, he said. He slowly pulled it back down and pushed it into his skull as he shook his head. So this is what outside is like, huh? Whoa. I have to say, this is so... Naruto did not get to finish his sentence because he was gone. Both Danzo and Hiruzen stood there. Danzo looked around. Where did he go? He said. Naruto? Naruto, Hiruzen started to call out. But the child was nowhere to be seen. Naruto blinked. It is awesome, old man, he said. Old man? Naruto looked behind him. Hiruzen was not there. As he scratched the back of his head, that is when he heard something. As he decided to go and investigate, as he arrived, he saw two people were fighting. One of them was a man. He had spiky red hair. He was wearing a strange orange clothing. The other one, was that a cat? Naruto tilted his head. He had two large ears like a cat, and his skin was purple. He was wearing a strange thing around his neck that seemed to be his shirt. Strange blue pants, with a black sash that came down, and he also had a tail. As Naruto wondered why they were fighting. But it seems fun. They didn't seem to be trying to kill each other. As he wondered if he could have fun as well. Naruto walked over before he vanished. Meanwhile, these two people were fighting were Goku, the Saiyan Kakarot, as Naruto was no longer in his own universe, and Beerus, the god of destruction. Naruto had arrived towards Universe 7. As Beerus and Goku threw their punches, Beerus felt something grab his tail. He was confused as he turned around and raised the eyebrow to see a boy standing there holding on to his tail. He did not even sense him. Whoa, you really are a cat, said Naruto. You're like a giant kitty cat, aren't you? I've seen cat before, but I never seen one like you. That's awesome. I never knew things like you existed. As Naruto squeezed, applying a bit too much pressure, a spasm ran through Beerus' body. He lashed out with a furious punch to the mortal that dared to interrupt his fight and grab his tail. Naruto's head was blown off his body. As it flew through the sky, Goku's eyes went wide to what Beerus had just done. Until Naruto's head. It showed that his head was still attached, but it had stretched like rubber. It snapped back as Naruto was rubbing his cheek. "Hey, that hurt," he said, as he then lashed out back with a punch. Beerus saw the punch coming towards him. Yet, for some reason it reached him before he could move. Goku blinked in shock as he watched. Beerus was launched through the sky. Naruto ran for about a second before he caught up with Beerus, which made absolutely no sense. As he appeared in front of the man, Naruto now had a baseball cap on. He also had a bat in his hand as he started to hit it on the ground. "Batters up," he said. Whack! Beerus was sent straight up into the sky as he broke through the Earth atmosphere and flew through the moon. As Naruto looked, using his eyes to block the sun's shade. The next moment, Beerus came crashing back down, a shocking, confused look on his face. That is when someone arrived, a rather tall, blue-skinned man. At least he looked like a human, along with white hair. It was Whis, the attendant, the angel of the god of destruction. "Now who do we have here?" he said, looking at Naruto with an interesting gaze. Goku had not spoken because he was not sure who was the child or what the hell was going on. Beerus got up, and the amount of power that came out of him was unbelievable. Naruto stepped back, sweat running down his face. "It seems I pissed off the kitty cat." Naruto turned as he ran. Beerus started to chase after him until Naruto vanished, no longer to be seen again. Beerus flew up in the sky as he looked around. "Calm down, my lord." It was Whis that spoke. "Where is he?" "I'm going to kill him," he said, looking around. "I don't believe that he's here anymore." "Where did he go?" "I don't believe that he should have been here in the first place." "What are you talking about, Whis?" "That child. I sense a strange energy coming from him. Something that was unusual for this universe. I don't think it was a normal child. I don't think he even belonged in this universe." Beerus started to calm down, looking more confused. "What the hell is he then?" "I truly do not know," we said, confused. Meanwhile, back in the Elemental Nation, Naruto came out of nowhere running for his life before he bumped right into a tree. The tree collapsed, causing the other trees to collapse as well, like dominoes. As Naruto rubbed his head, seeing stars. Hiruzen and Danzo arrive on the scene. "Naruto." "I finally found you, old man," said Naruto. "I thought I was a goner." "Where did you go?" "I'm not sure. I was fighting a giant purple cat. He was pretty angry, and he was going to try and kill me, that is what he said." "A giant purple cat?" Hiruzen said, completely confused by Naruto's statement. They wonder if he was just making this up or if it was something that he actually saw. Then again, there was nothing they could do about it. Hiruzen told him never to disappear like that ever again. As Naruto apologized, it was an accident. He was just thinking about his freedom and then, whoop, he was somewhere else. Thinking about the old man, he came back home, along with his other Jiji, Danzo. So with that, they start to make their way. They were heading back towards the Hidden Leaf. This was not the first time that Naruto was seen in the village. However, he barely remembered it. His mind just did not keep certain things that he didn't want to focus on inside. But he remembered what happened all those years ago. It was when he hurt those people that he had gained this sickness. It was because he had hurt those people, and those people were a part of the village. and he should not hurt them. That is what the old man had said. However, he did not understand. He did not understand feelings, but over the years, Danzo Gigi had taught it to him. What it means to be bad and good. What it means to not hurt good people. And how he should protect them and keep them safe. Because they were his friends and his allies as well. Even the fox in his stomach. The fox is always making comments that he was going to kill him. But the two of them were best friends though. At least that is what Naruto think. It did not take them too long to arrive to the village. Naruto could go much faster, but they did not seem to be in a rush. As they discussed a few things, the old man was always going on that he did not need to hurt people, that he should not hurt people. But he already know that, jeez. And then they finally arrive. Naruto looked at the giant gates. He barely remembered them. He barely remembered anything here. His mind had the ability to block out anything that he did not want to remember. It was to keep him safe, perhaps. The gate guards, they were talking amongst themselves as they saw him. Naruto waved at them. As one of them waved back, the other one seemed to just look at him with a bit of confusion. So where to now, he asks. Hello there, Naruto, a voice said. Naruto turned. Sai, he said, as he rushed over towards the young boy. Sai was a year older than him, being 14 years old, and Naruto was 13. Naruto enveloped his best friend in a tight hug before breaking away. It's been so long, he said. Danzo Gigi told me that you were always busy. What's up with that, he asks. Sorry about that, Naruto, he said. But I have been really busy. The Hokage has assigned me to show you around, he said. You've been gone for quite some time now. And I'll be show you around and the changes. And also, where you will be staying, he said. Oh, alright, he said. See you later, Jijis, said Naruto, as he waved to them. Come on, Sai, as they started to walk. It's been so long, Naruto barely remember anything around here. Sai had been there to visit him. Sai was his best friend. Growing up, Sai was a root agent that Danzo had gotten to grow a friendship with Naruto. Danzo did not put a mother or father there to watch over him because that would just interrupt his sessions. Because Naruto would grow a long-lasting bond with those people. And Danzo didn't want him to be bonded with anyone else but himself. However, Hiruzen had to be involved. But that didn't matter though. He wanted Naruto to be fully bonded with him and no one else. But Hiruzen had gotten away. But that can be rectified. However, Naruto bonding with completely different people was already troubling by itself. So yes, he couldn't allow that. But Sai was completely loyal to Danzo. So having Naruto gain a best friend was the best option for all of them. Sai was able to help him. Sai emotions were cut from a young age. But Danzo had to re-educate him in terms of friendship. Yes, to be there to keep Naruto company and make sure everything went perfectly. So Sai was more than the other root agents in terms of emotions, while his emotions did not get in his way, because he was now able to flip them on and flip them off. However, Danzo had noticed that they were becoming a problem, but it was needed. That is why he had removed Sai from the heavy duty work. Yes, because having too much of that on his conscience with emotions would make him snap, and he couldn't afford that. Hiruzen now had to go back and make sure that everything was set perfectly. Know that Naruto was back in the village. Even where he was going to live, everything was set to make sure that that event that happened all those years ago didn't happen again. A memory flashed across Hiruzen's mind. Flashback. Hiruzen Sarutobi was decked out in his battle armor. A gigantic beast was ripping through the hidden leaf. This was not the Nine Tails. It was a woman turned into a destructive, ugly monster as she was ripping people apart with her bare hands. It was in the orphanage, and these people that he was speaking of were the children. They were being ripped apart and crushed. Envus flanked her, but no matter what they did, their attacks seemed to be doing nothing to her. Either she repelled them or she swallowed everything that was thrown. As she started to trample and crush his Envus, that is when he saw him. Naruto, he screamed! End of flashback. Hiruzen shook his head, getting the memory out of his mind. It was a good thing that the situation was isolated and the people did not know, because that would have made them hate him even more, and that was not what he desired at all. Speaking of that, he also had to keep the populace from doing something stupid, but he believed that all the training that was given to Naruto would pay off. Time skip. I was never out of the orphanage that much when I was around here, so I'm pretty much new to all of this, Naruto said, glancing around as he took in all the sights. Sai was showing him around. Sai's feelings towards the blonde was complicated. He saw Naruto as his friend. Yes, the only true friend that he had. However, Danzo-sama had gave him a mission to watch and deceive if necessary. Sai had to learn about what friendship consisted of, and he read a couple of books, a lot, and it said that friends don't manipulate and deceive and lie to friends. But that is what he was doing to Naruto. But Danzo-sama told him that it was for the betterment of the village, so he had to. In the beginning, he himself was not prone with emotions after his root training when he lost someone that he considered as a brother, that was Shin, earlier. He had to do it. It had to happen. But now he had Naruto, who was his closest friend. Yet he was deceiving him. Granted, Sai did not know much, but still, what he knew was what Danzo gave him. He decided to swallow those thoughts and feelings as he showed Naruto around. As they made their way, he showed him plenty of places until they end up at Training Ground 7, as the both of them stood there. Have you been keeping up with your training, Sai asked. Of course. I'm a lot stronger now, said Naruto. You want to spar for a bit? Okay, said Sai. But nothing too crazy, he said. As Naruto smiled, Sai also smiled, but this smile was not fake. It was a genuine smile, something that he had learned over the years. The both of them separated. Immediately the scene around them changed. Everything turned grey. Sai was dressed in a cowboy outfit, and so was Naruto. The both of them stood there. They were now standing in a desert. Sai knew that Naruto had the ability to manipulate himself and everything around him. There was a radius, and there was certain things that he didn't seem to be able to manipulate, or maybe he was just not strong enough. But Sai just went with it. As Sai lifted up his hat, Naruto lifted his hat as well. I told you not to come around here, partner, he said. And I told you, said Sai. I'll go wherever I want. Fine, said Naruto. I did warn you. The both of them were holding on to their waists where there was a gun, something that did not exist in the elemental nation. How Naruto knew about this was beyond Sai, but Sai's mind was not exactly focused on that right now. Naruto gripped it. Sai gripped his. The both of their eyes focused on one another. Suddenly, a weed blew by. They pulled their gun and fired. Bang! The both of them collapsed down to the ground. The scene changed once again. As Naruto was lying there, so was Sai. I'm sorry. It had to come to this. We were brothers, and we had to fight, Naruto said. It was my fault, said Sai. I did this. Naruto, can you stop this already, Sai said. The reality broke as they returned back to normal. Sai checked himself over. He was sure that he was shot a moment ago, or maybe he was. Naruto just reversed everything that happened. Naruto's mind was very complex and very crazy, and the things that he could do were also complex and crazy as well. Sai rushed forward as he whipped out a kunai. He charged the blonde. He swiped and stabbed at Naruto. Naruto evaded all of his attacks. Sai spun on his heel and lashed out with said kunai, forcing the blonde to jump as Naruto landed on a tree. Sai jumped on it, but the moment his feet made contact, his feet sunk into the bark. As he was pulled right into the tree and phased through the back of it, that is when he was kicked by Naruto as he was launched. Sai crashed on the ground as he looked up. He rolled away as Naruto's fist made contact. Naruto cracked the earth as smoke came out of it. He then proceeded to turn that smoke into a ball and threw it at Sai. Sai had to run as it exploded, firing smoke everywhere that burned to the touch. Sai appeared in mid-air and launched 2 shurikens before he went through hand sign. They multiply. However, Naruto simply smiled as he brought his hand together and pulled out a magnet. Naruto then proceeded to run with it, controlling the shurikens before he threw the magnet at Sai. Sai caught it as all the shurikens came back at him. He tossed the magnet away. As the shurikens went after it, Naruto appeared in front of him and punched him in the stomach, lifting Sai off the ground. Then he kicked him. Sai slammed into a tree. As the tree came alive and wrapped its branches around him, Naruto appeared in place, a kunai right towards his cheek. "It's over," he said. "So you have been keeping up with your training," Sai said, the genuine smile still on his face. The tree then released Sai as he dropped down. As he picked himself back up, "Here," said Naruto, as he rested his hand on Sai's shoulder. A golden aura surrounded Sai. Naruto was able to access his life energy, which he was using to heal Sai, as he did no longer feel pain anymore. Suddenly, a thundering sound went off. Sai looked around shocked when he heard. He looked towards Naruto with a sweat drop. Is that coming from your stomach?" Naruto's sweat dropped as he looked embarrassed. "Yeah, I guess I'm hungry," he said. "You know what? Come on," said Sai. "I think I have a place in mind that you might like," he said. "Really? What is it?" "It's a surprise." Moments later, Naruto's eyes were wide. He's eaten ramen before, but this was not the one that he's eaten before. Or maybe it was just not hot enough. Or maybe there was some new spices. But this was not it. No, it wasn't. He had people that cooked for him. Danzo Gigi had brought them, and they gave him ramen, but this... Ayam looked toward the sweet boy that was swallowing each bowl. Literally. At first he was eating normal until he went crazy. He opened his mouth. He used his left hand to stretch his mouth so wide as he started to throw the ramen inside. Toki dropped his spoon. As he blinked, Sai whacked Naruto over the head as his whole brain seemed to bounce up and down in his skull. Before resetting. "Is that how you eat?" he asked. As Naruto chuckled. "Sorry about that," he said. It's so amazing," he said. "I want 100 bowls," he said to her. Toki blinked as his sweat dropped. 100, he said. "Yep," said Naruto. "Come on now, you guys can do it." "I think I'll give you a little pep," he said. As he clapped his hand, suddenly, music started to play. Toki started to tap his feet on the ground. Ayam started to dance. Hundreds of chefs appeared out of nowhere. The restaurant got exponentially larger. They started to sing and clap. Sai and Naruto sat there as everyone who was walking by came to a complete stop. The restaurant had just appeared. Bowls after bowl started to be brought to Naruto as he started to swallow each and every one of them. When everything returned back to normal, Naruto belched. It shook Konoha. Sorry about that. Ayama and Toki were on the ground, exhausted. Their bodies were moving at speeds that they couldn't even control. But they did it. They made over 100 bowls with help in just a few seconds. How was something like that even possible? And what just happened to the restaurant? But it was now back to normal. Were they seeing things? As Naruto looked down towards them. "Hokage Gigi will pay you for that, okay? Just go to him with the bill," said Naruto. because I don't really have any money. Well, see you guys later. He got off the stool. However, his stomach was so large, it broke through the earth. Naruto screamed as he started to fall. He started to fall way down until he started to see lava. He started to flap his hands like a bird to try to go out back, but his stomach was weighing him down. He flapped his hands some more until his stomach touched the lava. He screamed, once again shaking the entire village. He then proceeded to digest his food. His stomach returned back to normal, stopping him inches away from the lava. "Woo," said Naruto, as the lava was just right in front of his face. He proceeded to reach down and dip his finger in it. Said lava changed the moment he touched it, as Naruto placed his finger in his mouth. It was cheese. It was cheese. He came out of the earth a few moments later, wiping the cheese off his mouth. "What just happened?" said Sai. "Sorry about that. Just got weighed down by my stomach. But everything's alright now." Ayame and Tuki had to close up for the day. They were exhausted. They couldn't serve anymore. And of course they were bringing the bill towards the Hokage. Everyone could swear that they heard a scream coming from the Hokage mansion a few hours later. Meanwhile, as Naruto sat in his new home, it was pretty large. Sai would be moving in with him. When Naruto heard that, he jumped straight up to the heavens before he came floating back down. In his old home, Sai did not live there. He was there every once in a while. Danzo had made it clear to Sai that he would be there, by Naruto's side to watch over him. Yes, he would. There was a few other people, but most of them were grown-ups, and Naruto did not really get along with them. But he got along great with Sai, and Danzo had noticed that. So he made sure that Sai formed a bond in friendship with Naruto. Something that was able to keep him going. Something that was able to keep him extra loyal to the village. Time skip. Kakashi was seated with the Hokage. This was the first time that he's heard about Naruto being back. Kakashi had never met the boy before. He never met him while he was in the orphanage, and he was never permitted to visit him. This year graduation would be letting out. And Hiruzen already had a team formulated, which Naruto would be a part of. It was Team 7. Sakura, Sasuke, and Naruto. Sakura was the top kunoichi of the class. Sasuke was the top student of the class. Naruto never attended the academy. However, they had tutors and teachers for him while he was out there. It was hard to get him to focus sometimes, but he was a pretty smart kid when he put his mind to it, or whenever he wanted to be. Because by now, Hiruzen had realized that he could warp the space around him. He could basically warp reality. And he also was able to keep himself from getting wounded, or he could stop others or wound others in ways that were just unrealistic, and yet he brought it to reality. His powers and abilities made no sense. However, Hiruzen knew Orochimaru toxic and that lightning mixed together, they were somehow responsible for turning him into what he was right now. Hiruzen had went back to try and test that toxic that came from Orochimaru lab, but the department only found that it was regular toxic that could make you sick. Hiruzen realized that Hit and the lightning come together. That is what gave Naruto these strange abilities. He wasn't sure that lightning was natural, but it was just generated like that, which made no sense at all. But for now, everything was okay. Hiruzen was discussing with Kakashi about his role in taking Naruto on as a student. Yes, he would. He would be the one to guide him. Yes, Sai would be there whenever he was at the village. While Naruto was busy, Sai would return back to whatever he does. Hiruzen knew that Danzo had people that he kept away from him, and Sai was one of them, personally trained by him. Because of what Danzo had done for him, Sai was left with him. Hiruzen did not get involved with what Danzo was doing there, because he knew despite that he did not agree with the man's actions, Danzo wanted nothing but the betterment of Konoha. And that is something the both of them could always agree with. Yes, the both of them wanted Konoha to be as safe as possible. So yes, he was talking to Kakashi right now to fill him in on Naruto's personality and certain things that he could do. Because whenever anyone sees it, they would be alarmed. Today was the first day that he was attending the academy. Today was actually the final test. It was perfect timing. Naruto and Sai made their way. As Sai arrived towards the academy gates with Naruto, as Naruto stood there. So this is the academy, huh? Yep, said Sai. Sai noticed there was a strange look on Naruto's face. His face drooped and almost hit the ground. What's wrong, he said. I'm nervous, said Naruto. I mean, apart from you, you're my only friend my age. I don't have any other friends. What if I can't make any? Come on now, he said. You're a good kid, Naruto. And we were able to become friends. Just don't do anything too extra and everything will be quite alright, okay? Really? Said Naruto. Sai nodded. Yeah, trust me. You're gonna make a lot of friends. As Naruto looked towards the academy, Sai was right. He's gonna make a lot of friends. Doesn't matter if this was his first day. Alright. I'll see you later, said Naruto. Yeah, said Sai, as he watches Naruto make his way off. Sai looked at Naruto as a younger brother despite him only being 1 year older than him, which was reasonable but still. Naruto looked up to him. That is why Sai felt so horrible about the fact that he was still deceiving him. However, it was for his own good, right? That is what he was told occasionally. That it was for Naruto's own good. That is how things had to stay. He just hoped that Naruto could live a normal childhood, something that he never had. Look at him. Before, he wouldn't even understand these emotions. And in a short amount of time, that boy was able to change his perception on many things. And he had a friend. Sai felt happy saying that. He had a friend. Meanwhile, in the academy. Alright everyone, quiet down. It was the voice of Iruka Mino. We're going to be getting a new student today. Everyone was confused. New student? Yes, Iruka said. But Sensei, I mean, it's the final test. Yes, this person was personally taken out of the village and guided by Lord Hokage himself. The Hokage trained him? What's so special about him? Several of them start to question. Do you doubt the Hokage orders? Of course not, many of them said. As they would not doubt their leader of the village, so believe in him. He's a new student of the class from now on, and I expect all of you to show him the kindness that you show one another. Many people did not know that Naruto was the Jinchuriki. Many parents never had a chance to see him because Hiruzen took him straight out of the orphanage. So the kids did not know anything about him. They did not know that he was the one. They knew nothing at all. However, the place started to shake, which confused many of them. That is when 5 people in black clothing start to enter. There was a song playing. As they started to dance, Iruka felt his body moving. As the children started to move as well, suddenly, everyone jumped out of their decks as they started to dance. As Naruto came inside, Sai told him not to be eccentric, and here he was. He couldn't help himself. As he started to sing and dance, everyone found themselves doing what he did. As this went on for a whole minute straight until they returned back to their seat. Many of them had to blink and touch themselves, wondering if that was reality, if they were seeing things or not. However, what just happened was indeed reality. As they looked at each other, completely confused. Even Sasuke Uchiha just got down and danced. Sasuke Uchiha of all people. Now that was truly remarkable. Iruka looked at Naruto. The Hokage did told me about you, he said. But this was nothing what Aruka was expecting at all. This was kind of frightening. It was like he had no control over his body and at the same time he had control. But he wanted to dance, which made no sense because his mind didn't want to dance. He was confused how the child did that, as Naruto was now standing beside him. He shook his head. Alright everyone, he said. This is Naruto Uzumaki. As they all looked at him. Naruto exhaled. It's a pleasure to meet all of you, he said. I hope we can become friends. Hey, how did you do that? Many of them start to ask. Do what? That whole dancing thing. Oh, you see, I have this awesome ability that I can do many awesome things. Like this, said Naruto, as he grabbed the side of his head and pulled it off. See? As he started to throw it into his hand over and over. He then attached it back and spun it around like he was screwing it on. The kids were shocked. Aruka himself was baffled. And I can also do this, said Naruto, as he proceeded to reach into his shirt. Come on, he said as he pushed his hand deep down. Where did you go? As he was searching for something. He then finally found it as he pulled it out. All of the kids got out of their seats, majority of them running away. As Naruto pulled out a massive beer out of his shirt, the thing roared at them and started to charge until it turned into dust. Naruto started to laugh. I got you, he said. Naruto, please stop that, Aruka said. I'm sure the kids have enough of what you just did. Oh, alright, said Naruto. Now which seat is mine? Oh, I see mine right there, said Naruto. Oh yeah. As he started to march over toward his seat, everyone blinked. Standing there was a throne. A rather curvy throne that seemed to have sentience. It was enticing Naruto. Oh, I'm coming for you, baby, he said, walking towards his chair. Just put a little seat right here. As Naruto sat down, the chair handles wrapped around him. Aren't we going a bit too fast, said Naruto. I mean, we just met. Oh, I understand. Well, I guess love is love. He snapped his head toward the children. What? You can love who you want and be with who you want. And I love this chair. You can be angry and upset all you want, but I love this chair, said Naruto as he started to make out with the chair. Many of the students started to laugh, finding the whole thing rather hilarious, until the chair returned back to normal as Naruto was now seated. Aruka shook his head. Well, now that is over, he said. You will be having a test. The first part of your graduation test, he said. It will be a written exam. As the papers were passed out by someone that entered, his name was Mizuki. Mizuki passed out the papers. As the children were still talking because the test had not begun just yet, the papers were turned over. Alright, Aruka said, you have 45 minutes to complete the test. No longer, he said. You can begin now. Naruto turned the paper over as he looked at the questions. Suddenly, he pulled out a pair of glasses as he put them on. As he started to calculate on a strange device that the students were looking at, it was the calculator. And this is, as Naruto went into full nerd mode as he called it. A big large pencil. His two front teeth got large. His glasses were more large and buff. As his back was hunched over as he started to write. He stuck his tongue out as he was writing, so fast that the paper caught on fire. Everyone had to take a break as Naruto. He rushed towards a lake. In the span of a fraction of a second, he returned back after swallowing the lake before he spewed it over his paper that was drenched. He then proceeded to reach outside and grab the ear, and threw the ear down on his paper to blow it out. The whole class had to hold on for dear life. Naruto, Aruka said. As Naruto returned back to normal, Sorry about that, but I'm finished, he said, as he handed in his paper. You can't be finished just yet. Haruka looked towards the clock. Only 1 minute has passed. Well, I'm done, said Naruto. Why don't you have a look? Haruka did have a look. And all the answers were correct? What the hell? But guys, it'll be end episode right here. If you want something important to do, like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on that bell notification to stay posted. Remember, share to all of your friends in your social media platform. And also, guys, don't forget to go ahead and check out the other what ifs of the other channels. I hope you guys enjoy each and every one of them. The links will be down in the description for all the other channels, so go ahead, check them out, and yeah, enjoy. So without further ado, waste no more time, what do you say we get out of here? See you guys soon. Peace.